What's up, guys? This is Coach Grant with First Down Training, and today we're going to be breaking down the acceleration phase out of a route. We're going to be talking about how that's going to be able to keep the separation that you create at the top of the route, how that's going to be able to get you at the right depth and at the right spot for the quarterback, and how that's going to keep the separation that you created off the line of scrimmage, okay? And guys, if you're a receiver and you want to improve your hands, you want to get better at catching the football, check out a 30-day catching program that I just developed on my website. Check out that link in the description that says improve your hands in 30 days, specific exercises to improve your grip strength, hand-eye coordination, and repetition drills to make you a better pass catcher. Hope to get you guys on that soon. Let's get started. So this first route we're going to be looking at here is from Judy. He's going to be running a comeback, right? So when he's running this comeback here, it's important that on a 45-degree angle break, really on any break in general, that you want to create energy at the top of the route, and you want to use that energy to make sure you accelerate and widen the gap with this DB, okay? So let's watch it full speed, then we'll break down. We're just going to be focusing on phase 3, right, which is the acceleration. So you see how violent he is with his hips, and then that's what gives him separation, but the acceleration is what keeps it, right? So again, it's all relative. It all ties together. We've talked about the phases of a route before, but pushing vertical, right? The stem, right? That's phase 1. Pushing vertical, selling fade, running a fade. Yes, there are times, like I said before, where you want to change up the tempo of the route. But when you're running full speed like this on a route, it's very hard to have a DB react and change direction right now, right? Especially when he's got his hips turned. He doesn't want to get beat over the top. He doesn't want to get beat on a fade. Selling fade is one of the most important things that you can think, right? Or that you can do, right? To get the DB to think. Now, you see how when he drops right now, and he drops his hips violently, that ties into the acceleration portion of the route, right? Because your hips have got to be violent, and that's what creates that energy source. That's what creates that energy and that power that's going to shoot you back out if you know how to use it, right? So if you can be violent with your hips, bring your chin to your knee, drop your hips violently, aggressively, you could pump your arms, and you could drive off of these legs, right? You see how he's here, and he snaps, he pivots off that leg, drives off that leg, and then he takes that 4th and 5th step here. And this leg that plants, right, if you go snap 2, 3, and it's off the 3rd step, you go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and it's off the 5th step, like in this case, you want to be able to push off of that inside arch of your foot because you're in that low explosive pad level position. You've got your hips turned like he does right here to get him back down that 45. If you can drive off of that plant leg and you can pump your arms to get you out of this thing, that's how we use that energy that we created at the top of the route with my hips. It's like a 40-yard dash, right? You're not going to just stand up and run. Just like how you wouldn't run into a route and stand up at the break and then run out of it and not create any energy, right? He gets low, drops his hips, puts himself in that explosive position, along with his pad level into that position, gets him into that explosive drop phase where he's able to bring his chin to his knee and drop his hips. That's what gives him the energy to accelerate out of this break and widen the gap with this DB, right? Yeah, I created separation, but so what? If I just stand up and cruise, that DB's got his head down. He's in oh shit mode. He got beat, right? He's going to have his head down. He's doing everything he can to recover on this. Let's not allow him to recover. Let's continue to pump my arms. Let's continue to drive out, and let's continue to widen this gap with him. And you see how he pumps those arms and comes back to that ball. Great rider by Judy. Let's watch it again full speed. So create energy with your stem, with your hips, and then make sure my arms pump out and I'm driving off of that plant leg. Okay, so now we're going to be looking at digs here. We're going to talk about how your arms in the acceleration phase can get you flat and get you right on this 90. So we're going to talk about this here. Let's watch this thing full speed. So you see how he breaks, works that hand technique at the top, then he's able to get straight down the line here. Now, when you decide to make a break, fellas, he's not swinging that arm out on the break. He's working like hand technique at the top, like he's got to chop this DB's arm off, so that's not what I'm too worried about. But I want you guys to focus on this arm, his right arm, and then his left arm. You see how his right arm rips like he's trying to elbow somebody straight behind him. That's what it takes to get your hips back down on a 90-degree break, right? He kind of runs this like post-dig type concept here, right? And so when I swing my inside arm behind me, and I'm running a dig. If it's an out, it would be your outside arm. But you want to swing that arm around you like there's somebody's got their head right here behind your back, and you're trying to elbow them. You're trying to swing that elbow around, and you want to rip your other arm across. You want to rip your left arm across. Not only will this help you keep speed, but it will keep your hips on this 90-degree break, and will give you some acceleration out of the route, right? You're running an out route. Like let's say he was running an out right here, and let's say he was pushing vertical and he was going to cut off of this right leg. You don't want to just cut and then let yourself drift way out there. You want to cut and then here, and get as flat as you possibly can to come back to that ball. I wouldn't say as flat as you possibly can, right? But we don't want to round and fade away from the ball and give that DB more time to react, and we're covering ourselves, right? So how we do that is by ripping my arms. There's two things that does. That gets my hips committed, And that's a big part of the acceleration phase, because shortest distance between two things is straight across, right? So if I'm going straight across here and I'm not drifting off this thing because my hips aren't committed, quarterback's going to have more confidence in where I'm at. He's going to expect me to be there, and he's going to be able to get me that ball, right? So that's exactly what you got to do anytime you're working your arms to get back on a 90, hell, even on a 45 too. You want to rip that right arm like you're elbowing somebody, and you continue to drive those arms and pump out of this break, snap those eyes to get your hips down that 90-degree break. Okay, let's watch this thing full speed one more time. So he's coming off here, makes this stick, rips that arm, snap that arm around, rip that right arm like you're elbowing somebody behind you. Okay, so now we're going to talk about our acceleration off the line of scrimmage here and how we can beat this DB in two different situations. Okay, because so many guys off the line of scrimmage will break a dude. They'll break a guy. They'll get him to They'll get him to be off balance. They'll get him to be off platform, and then they don't accelerate out of the break. They cruise. They stand straight up. They start jogging, whatever it is, and it kills them. That kills the separation that you guys are trying to get, right? So what we want to do here is we want to make sure no matter what I do off the line, I break the guy's ankles. I get him to just lean a little bit outside, which is all you need. A little bit of separation is fine. Or I don't get any separation at all. I got to still win this rep. I can't quit on the rep. I got to accelerate out of the break. So we're going to watch this right here. Keenan Allen, he works this slide 1, 2, 3, and you see how much he accelerates out. Ball's behind him, yes. Ball's in front of him, different story. He might take this thing. You know what I mean? So we got to make sure that we get an accurate ball from the quarterback. But now let's talk about the technique of this. So you see how he's here. He's sliding. He's sliding into open space, right? Now he's got to run this slant. He's working in this area right here. He's working in this range because this DB's forced to make a decision. He's either got to get hands on him or he's got to do exactly what he's doing right now, play those hips, stay disciplined, and shuffle with him, right? Now, there comes a point where this DB must open up the gate, right? He can't shuffle with me forever. So if we stay on that almost 45-degree angle here, he's going to have to kind of shuffle with me and play my hips and stay disciplined. So when I give him this shake off the line, you see how he goes here, he goes left, right, left, and he gives that head and shoulder fake and gets his DB stuck on this outside leg right now. Here's the deal. This works for a slide release, diamond release, a 1-2, double up, whatever you want to call it, dive release. It's all relative. It's all the same technique. You get him to lean here, even if he opens up and tries to drive on this thing, we got to make sure that we're pushing off of this break leg, right? Off the line of scrimmage, so many receivers, they'll either open up that toe or they'll reach, and this cut will be way outside of their frame as well. Do you want to be outside the DB's frame? Well, in some situations, yes. This situation, we don't need to step way outside of his frame, but we don't want to reach, and we don't want to open up my toe. We don't want to open up my hips to where they're facing the sideline, because that will make me slow and I won't have any burst back to the inside. If you could keep a good shin angle on a 45, which keeps those toes forward, you just give a little shake with your upper half and push off of this leg. You see how Keenan Allen's pushing off of his break leg. He's pushing out of there, opening up that hip and driving those arms. That's what gets you acceleration out of this break. And you see off the line of scrimmage, did he pop his chest up? Is he vertical with his pad level? No, he's not vertical. He keeps his chest down the entire time because that's an explosive position. We were talking about just like running a 40-yard dash. You want to be in that explosive position because that will shoot you out and that gives you that acceleration and that burst. Same idea off the line. You work your technique, whatever it is. You drive off of that plant leg. You rip those arms through just like what you're doing, and you stay in a good pad level to make sure that he has no time to react to this ball. Okay, now another situation, like let's say instead of going with the slide, we went with the diamond where we went 1, 2, 3 steps to the outside. DB turned his hips, and I swatted by his right arm, and I cut this thing back underneath. A great release you guys could use when you got to run a slant. And this DB speed turns out of there to come back across. If he speed turns and I'm not accelerating out of this thing, or I'm drifting upfield because I'm not ripping my arms through and getting my hips across, easy play for him to make, right? But if I set him up outside, I get his gate to turn, I get him to open up the gate, I can accelerate back underneath and really do some damage because he's forced to speed turn, because you're in that blind spot where he can't see you for a split second, okay? So that's one of the main things off the line of scrimmage to get you guys some space. Let's watch it again full speed. So he's coming off slide, 1, 2, 3. Breaks back to the inside, ball a little bit behind him, but great job by Keenan Allen. All right, guys, I really want to thank you for watching. I really appreciate it. Again, if you guys have any questions, leave those in the comments. I'll get back to you as soon as possible. And if you guys want to improve your hands, become a better pass catcher, check out that link in the description that says improve your hands in 30 days. I'll see you guys next time.